Hi there, a very good morning to all our viewers who've tuned in to this live broadcast here on Moneycontrol. The show is called Newspresso with me, Stacy Pereira. And as the drill goes, in the next few minutes, we're going to be giving you a lowdown of all the top stories from across the globe. What really are the markets taking cues from for their direction ahead to whatever is happening across India, be it from politics to all the rejig that we're seeing in the banking sector, especially HDFC after that mega merger, as well as the latest trends that are doing the round, be it on social media and otherwise. We've got you covered with all those stories. So stay with us for the next few minutes as we get them all to you. But for now, let's go straight first to our global dispatch, where it seems like that there's more turmoil in store for Wall Street. At least the stocks there tumbled overnight as the US Treasury yields hit their highest level since 2007, raising concerns that higher interest rates would in fact freeze the housing market as well as tip the economy into a recession. Now, the Dow Jones Industrial Average lost about 430 odd points, down by 1.3% for its worst day since March. Now, the S&P 500 too slid by about 1.4%, touching its lowest level since June, whereas the tech-heavy Nasdaq, that one dropped close to 2%, with growth stocks really taking the knock. Now, with those cuts, we saw the Dow Jones Index officially turn into negative territory for 2023. But let's also focus on bond yields and what's happening there. The 10-year Treasury yield that last traded about 4.81%, reaching its highest level in 16 years as the Fed indulges in that higher for longer regime. Now, the latest catalyst for this rate boost was the release of the August job opening survey, which signaled a tight labor market. Now, the survey showed 9.6 million opening roles in the month as against the 8.8 million jobs that were anticipating, allowing the Fed now to remain hawkish going ahead. And the gloomy economic data from the Eurozone put a lid on that rise for European indices as well, which closed lower on Tuesday. The regional stock 600 index ended by about 1.1% lower, and all sectors in major bourses were in the negative territory. The debt-heavy utilities sector, that one dropped more than 2.7%. Higher for longer rates is in focus, while mining stocks were also down by about 2.6%. Though among the big stock movers in the euro area was a Danish firm Ørsted as well as Aventas Wind, which were down by about 4.9% and 4.4% respectively. Drug maker AstraZeneca was also in focus as it agreed to settle a US lawsuit by paying up $425 million. Now, those shares though traded slightly higher in trade. As for the currency market there, the British pound hit a new 6 months low against the US dollar. The sterling sharply declining against the greenback in September can also be attributed to a weak UK growth forecast as well as a revision of lower of peak interest rate expectation. The Great Britain pound in fact traded close to $1.207.1 levels. And a quick look at what's happening in Asia this Wednesday morning, where seems like that slump continues. The sea of red it is. We're seeing Hong Kong, which is likely just opening now, but after it slipped more than 3% in the previous session, was dragged mostly by real estate as well as energy sector. Investors are also reacting to the Reserve Bank of Australia, which chose to keep its policy rates unchanged at 4.10%. The S&P ASX 200 is trading close to half a percentage point lower this morning. The Japan's Nikkei 225 too has dropped by about 1.45% in the first hours of trade. Korea's Kospi too is posting more than 2% drop early morning, falling by 2.16%. Though Chinese mainland indices, those one remain closed for that week-long holiday. If you look at the GIFT Nifty, that one's also indicating a gap down start for the Indian markets. And let's look at commodities and crude now. After hitting that 3-week low, oil prices are back on the upward move, we could say, or recovering slightly in overnight trade. The strengthening dollar has kept oil prices under check. Brent crude oil futures were down by about 10 cents to trade near that $90.61 per barrel mark. High interest rates as well as that strong dollar really making oil more expensive for holders of other currencies, which could then further dampen oil demand. Now, all eyes will also be on the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, or what we know as OPEC, and its allies, that is OPEC Plus, which will be meeting today. The producer group is expected to keep its output policy unchanged in order to keep supplies tight. And to all the corporate developments that are taking place overseas, now Meta platforms could soon start charging for its ad-free version of Facebook as well as Instagram. This could happen in the EU area. Now, that's according to a report by the Wall Street Journal. Now, the Zuckerberg-led firm says that the fee could be close to $10.50 per month that could get charged on either one of these products for a personal computer. The cost of the mobile version for users might be even higher, with Meta factoring in the commissions charged by Apple as well as Google App Stores. Now remember, Meta was fined over $400 million earlier this year by Ireland's data privacy watchdog, as it didn't have the legal basis to send users ads based on their online activity. Now the social network has told European regulators that it would be rolling out the ad-free options in the coming months, but it would definitely come at a cost. I'm moving on to news from the crypto space, where the disgraced founder and ex-CEO of bankrupt crypto exchange FTX, yes, I'm talking about Sam Bankman-Fried, he has been criminally charged, and the criminal trial, in fact, began yesterday at a Manhattan federal court in New York. Now, Bankman-Fried faces 7 criminal counts related to the collapse of the crypto empire he built, including wire fraud, securities fraud, and money laundering. Now, a superseding indictment alleges that Bankman-Fried misused billions of dollars worth of customers' money for personal purchases, including buying more than a $200 million upscale real estate property in the Bahamas, as well as to cover bad bets made at the crypto hedge fund Alameda Research. Now, a conviction on all these counts could mean that Sam Bankman-Fried would land himself in more than 100 years in prison. To all the latest political developments in the United States, which has a big bearing on the markets, and of course that transcends to markets across the globe, where for the first time ever in US history, members of the House of Representatives have ousted the Republican Kevin McCarthy as the Speaker. The chamber has dethroned its leader in a no-confidence vote that was taken place overnight. The vote was triggered after Representative Matt Gaetz formally launched the process of trying to remove McCarthy. A small band of about 8 hardline conservative Republicans joined all the Democrats to approve a motion of vacate. Now, Gaetz says that McCarthy no longer represented the interests of the Republican caucus after he worked with Democrats to pass that stopgate funding bill to avoid a government shutdown. This happened on Saturday. Now, post this, all that transpired last night, we saw that a Republican, Patrick McHenry of North Carolina, he'll be assuming the role of Speaker pro tempore, while the House Republican Conference will be meeting later to chart out the next course of action. On to the market action that went down here on Dalal Street yesterday. Now, we did see Indian equities ending in the red after that rather range-bound session that we saw. The Nifty and Seng both falling 0.5 percentage point, but the Nifty managing to stay above that 19,500 mark. Bank stocks were the ones that really declined, while it was mid-cap that really bucked the trend. The mid-cap index ending with just marginal gains in an otherwise lackluster day of trade, we could say. Autos and FMCGs were the other top sectoral laggards, while PSU banks and realty stocks were the gainers in trade. But let's tell you among the stocks that you need to be keeping out on your radar today. Look out for Adani Enterprises, as the Abu Dhabi-based IHC has raised its stake in the company to over 5%. Also look out for IDFC First Bank, which will be kicking off its 3,000 crore rupees QIP, likely at the price of 90 rupees per share. So that will be interesting to watch. Also, Maruti can be in focus after it was among the top losers in trade yesterday. It would be in focus after it has received a 2,160 crore draft income tax assessment order. So all of these will be important stocks to be looking out for in today's trade. But let's move on then and tell you another stock that would see a lot of action, that being HDFC Bank. Now, this after 3 months after that mega merger that we saw between HDFC and HDFC Bank, it is set to revamp some parts of that top management that we see. Is the top deck getting a rejig, one could say. Among the big changes that are coming is that Arvind Kapil will be spearheading now their mortgage business, whereas Arvind Vora will be heading their retail asset, excluding the mortgages. Now, we also know that Ashish Parthasarthi, he is the bank's treasurer up until now. He will be looking at the retail branch banking going ahead, and the bank has also brought in information technology and digital functions, which will be led by Ramesh Lakshmi Narayan, and he will be directly under Chief Executive Officer Shashidhar Jagdishan, as the bank is leaning more towards technology to offer more products and services across their branches. Now, HDFC Bank, in fact, those shares have come under quite a bit of pressure and even is a laggard compared to its other peers, and has faced a downgrade recently from Nomura just last month, which cited concerns of depleting a return of assets as well as pressure on their loan growth. So as we enter into this earnings season as well, it will be interesting to see how HDFC really turns things around. Well, let's also move on to news from the startup space, where cash-strapped quick commerce platform Dunzo and its co-founder now has apparently quit the company. I'm talking about Suri, who oversaw their operations and across the company, in fact, and was in charge mainly of Dunzo's B2B business arm. Well, there's also unconfirmed reports that another co-founder and the CTO of Dunzo, that is Mukund Jha, is also said to be leaving the company. However, the embattled startup has so far denied this development. And not just co-founders, in fact, Dunzo has also seen a couple of its board members stepping down of late. Sources have confirmed to our network that the Reliance Retail nominee has also stepped down from Dunzo's boards. Now, all of these exits come at a time when the grocery delivery firm is seeking to raise about $20 million from Reliance Retail. Now, Dunzo also cut its workforce by about 30% in April, its second round of layoffs, and even deferred the salary of its employees. In fact, in the latest development, we are getting to hear that they have told the employees that they let go of, that they'll need to wait another 4 months so that they get their deferred payment. So a lot is happening in that startup, and remains to be seen how this, even after getting backing from a Mukesh Ambani-led company, how it really goes ahead, especially in this, in light of so many exits that are happening in the top tech. Well, let's also tell you the top national story that is making headlines. Yes, I'm talking about NewsClick, where its founder Prabir Purakasthya has been arrested, and this in an anti-terror case. Now, it all transpired yesterday, where on 3rd October, the special cell of the Delhi police raided several journalists and commentators that were working with the media outlet NewsClick. Now, multiple locations in New Delhi as well as Mumbai were raided, and the raids were in connection to an FIR that was filed under the Stringent Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, or UAPA as we know it. Now, the probe this was being probed for the source of where this news website is getting its funding from. Now, this also comes just days after the New York Times investigation alleged that the news portal had received funding from a network which is pushing for Chinese propaganda. Now, Amit Chakravarti is another member who has been arrested. He serves as the HR head in the same news portal, and even he was arrested along with the founder. Now, the arrests and raids have led to a political storm, of course, with the opposition now accusing the Narendra Modi government of cracking down on the freedom of press. We are going to see, in fact, a protest taking place in Delhi today, where many journalists are coming together to protest these arrests. And now let's tell you what's happening in the world of sports, and also what's really taking this social media by storm. Now, we know that Virat Kohli, and we're all looking forward to his presence in the World Cup. But just before that, he has entered into the world's first electric boat racing league as a team owner this time. Now, following Rafael Nadal as well as Didier Drogba, Kohli has launched a new electric boat team which will be called Blue Rising and will compete in the UIM E1 World Championship. Now, the name Blue Rising aims to draw attention towards the marine conservation, and Kohli says that his aim is to promote the message of a cleaner environment and cleaner water in the coming years. Let's listen into what he had to say.
Bringing in sustainability along with it, and promote the message of a cleaner environment, cleaner waters, in the coming years. So, as I said, I'm very, very excited for it.
And from one cricket hero to the other, well, I'm talking about legendary Indian cricketer Sachin Tendulkar, who has been named now the global ambassador for the ODI World Cup 2023, and this by the International Cricket Council or ICC. Tendulkar, remember, is the highest run scorer of all times and will now walk out with the Men's Cricket World Cup trophy before the opening match at the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad, declaring the tournament open. That will be his job as that global ambassador. Now, reacting to the honour, though, the Master Blaster said that winning a World Cup, especially the one that he did in 2011, is the proudest moment for him in his cricketing journey, and that the World Cups have a really special place in his heart, and he looks forward to being the global ambassador now. And while we're talking about sports, well, this may not really be exactly related to sports, but Mark Zuckerberg yesterday shared a selfie on Instagram, which really got everyone talking. Now, that's because this picture showed his face quite swollen and also marked by multiple bruises under his eyes and on the nose. Explaining, though, how this injury happened, the Meta CEO wrote that it happened while sparring, which is the training part of any combat sport, which actually got out of hand. That's what he captioned when putting out that picture, adding that he may need to update his avatar to the way he looks currently. Now, Zuckerberg has been in fact practicing combat sports such as MMA and Jiu-Jitsu for quite some time now, and we were all really looking forward to see Mark Zuckerberg as well as Elon Musk actually take it to the ring. But this time around, that really has not transpired. We're seeing quite swollen and injured Mark Zuckerberg putting out that picture, a selfie of himself there out for people to see what he's really up to when he's inside the ring. Well, that was all that we could wrap up for you in our trend section. But let me tell you before you go what you need to be looking out for today in trade as well as otherwise. Well, we do have, if you're looking at macro counters, the RBI's Monetary Policy Committee, that one will be convening today for its bi-monthly meeting, the outcome of which we are anticipating on October 6th, whether Governor Shaktikant Das will maintain status quo or further hike rates will be something that we'll need to be watching out for, and we'll be getting you all those details on October 6th, but that meeting kicking off today. Well, and after the Nobel Prize for Medicine as well as Physics that were announced over the past 2 days, we are going to be hearing the Nobel Prize for Chemistry. That one is going to be announced today at 3:15 Indian Standard Time. So we could look forward to who really takes up this prize. And also in the US, and for all the tech enthusiasts who are watching this show, well, Google is all set to introduce that new batch of Pixel devices, the Pixel 8 as well as the Pixel Pro. This will happen at the Made by Google event this evening. This will take place at about 7:30 Indian Standard Time and will be live streamed across Google's website, YouTube channels. So that's where you can get all the details of what really is going to be that price point for this Google Pixel devices, as well as the watch is something that people are really looking forward to. Well, with that, it's a wrap, and we hope this dose of Newspresso was useful, informative, and gives you that kickstart to your day. But don't forget to come back here tomorrow, same place, same time, for your fresh shot of Newspresso. From all of us who put this show together, thanks so much for tuning in.